This is Deb Rembert. She's talking on issues of Section 8 and housing and how they're not helping people, they're hurting people. Tell them how they hurt you, Deb.
How Section 8 hurt me. Well, I was living in a very nice neighborhood. Section 8 accused me of fraud, which they could not prove. The information and had me arrested for fraud charges. That it was invalid because I've been receiving child support, which was my only income, for better than 24 years. And Section 8 was well aware of my child support. And for them to accuse me of fraud, they should be ashamed of themselves. Now, I verbally gave them information as into my child support payments, and I would do this on every time it was time to recert. I would verbally, which a lot of people do, verbally tell Section 8, go ahead and contact child support on their behalf, and Section 8 usually contacts child support on the behalf of the client, and they usually contact child support on the behalf of the client, and child support tells them yes or no, writes it down on a paper, faxes it back to them as into whether the person is still receiving child support payments or not. And this was happening every time it was my research time. They would contact child support. Child support would then verify that I'm still receiving child support payments and have been receiving it for 24 years. And for Section 8 to lie and fabricate a story and say that that did not happen is beyond me. I don't understand the logic. But here's the clincher. Child support destroys the documents within 1 month time. So there's no proof as into that transaction actually happened, which I have a problem with that, because there needs to be proof that this transaction actually transpired. So when you talk to these lawyers, instead of them, which was legal aid, instead of them looking into the matter, they just assume that what was said about you had to be true, when in essence it was not true. And they should have looked into that matter to find out that that was not true. And I got a problem with legal aid, because it doesn't seem like they do their job to help the poor as well as they should. Neither does legal aid, neither does the public defendants that are supposedly for the poor families. And it's a mockery of the system. So,
as a result of your Section 8, what did Section 8 do to you when they did your research?
They had me to have to pay them back.
Did they arrest you?
They had me to pay them back $800, had me arrested. I lost my housing as a result of their negligence. And I think that's very wrong. How can Section 8 half do their job and still cause you penalties that are unfair and unconstitutional, should be, unless there has been a thorough investigation of their claims? There was no thorough investigation of their claims. But this is what happens to poor families. They end up going to jail, end up having to pay back money that they don't have for claims that cannot be validated by Section 8 or anybody else. And it's a wrong situation of the law. And when you try to go to the news with these allegations, the news does not want to do your story, especially if you're an African American. I have a problem with that. The news is supposed to cover all stories, but they pick and choose what they want to cover. And African American claims of the system is never covered, because it always seems to be that they feel that African Americans are fabricating up a story to be on the system.
Liars and not won't tell the truth about anything, so they tend to put things into play. Yeah,
they tend to dismiss the story as a fabrication when the story is not a fabrication. These things actually are happening, and they are harming poor families. And if Section 8 and public defendants and the whole systems of Section 8 and social services are allowed to continue,
what did social services do to you as a result of this case? Weren't you forced to move out of your house?
That case, when I dealt with social services, well, social services was involved in both cases, but I had another case where I was a daycare provider, and I had been doing daycare for better than 15, 16 years. And social services did me a dirty deal with that. I had what I consider a kangaroo hearing, where the judge was family and friends to the state representatives that were prosecuting me in that particular case, and they were able to win due to the fact that the judge made sure she didn't ask the proper questions. Like, social services workers accused me of having my daycare children in danger. When they came out to my house to do their so-called inspection, and I made it clear to them that I had no children on the premises, while I'm a severe asthmatic and had my medications out in clear view. I also had cleaning solutions out in clear view, but there were no children present during that time. The worker in social services said, take that information down, that she has cleaning solutions out and that she has her medication out. Again, the system was able to do a dirty deed to a person that's underprivileged by taking down information that was bogus at the time, due to the fact that I had no clients in my presence at that time. There was no clients there. So if there was no clients, people have to clean their house. So if there's no clients, then why are you taking down that information, other than to try to frame the person? And this is what happens to a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure it has happened to not only myself, but other people that have been subjected to this kind of scrutiny that's unfair. And the judge did not mention, when you had those cleaning solutions out, were there any clients present? She made sure she didn't ask that question, because then the answer would have been no. She didn't want to hear my answer because she wanted to validate what these people said against me. Again, Section 8, social services, legal aid, and public defendants, they all seem to work together for the destruction of the poor family. And so we're back where we started from with Martin Luther King. Now we have another issue. We have other issues to fight similar to what we had to fight in terms of civil rights in Martin Luther King's time. We're back fighting about those same type of issues, just a new day and a different time.
Well, you have it. Schenectady Insights with Deb Rembert on the issues of social services and Section 8 and the system of things. Thank you. Have a good day.
Now, where you gonna put that out at?